Senator from Washington State.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, when a disaster strikes, a tornado or an earthquake or a wildfire, the first thing we do is work to keep people safe. But that's far from the last thing we do. When the storm has passed, we rebuild. We rebuild homes and schools, hospitals, businesses, communities. And if we're doing our job right, we build them back even better, so we are ready when the next crisis strikes. That's exactly what this budget is about, rebuilding our country now stronger and fairer. We need to pick up where the infrastructure package leaves off by making bold investments in all of our infrastructure. In addition to building roads and bridges and even broadband, we need to build our public health infrastructure and help our local health departments expand their capacity and modernize their data and lab systems and more. We need to build our affordable housing infrastructure to make sure every family can keep a roof over their head and doesn't need to break the bank to do so. We need to build our school infrastructure to make sure schools don't have lead pipes or mold and do have adequate lighting and electricity and AC systems, not to mention so many other resources students need to learn and grow, like libraries and gyms. And we need to build our climate infrastructure. The climate crisis is here, and it is an existential threat. If we don't take this opportunity to protect our planet for current and future generations, we may not get another one. Of course, rebuilding is about more than just infrastructure. We have to build a stronger, fairer country for our workers and our families too. Our nation is stronger when no worker has to choose between a paycheck and taking care of themselves, a child, or a loved one who's seriously ill. And every worker can afford to take time off after giving birth, a partner's delivery, or adopting a child, which is why we must establish a national paid leave plan. Our nation is stronger when every parent can get quality, affordable childcare. Every young learner gets a strong start with quality early learning programs. And every adult learner can pursue a higher education, which is why we need to expand quality, affordable childcare and establish universal pre-K, and why we need to open the doors of higher education to even more people, starting by providing tuition-free community college. Our nation is stronger when older Americans and people with disabilities have the care they need to live independently in their communities, which is why we need to invest in home and community-based services and make sure the workers that provide that critical care get fair pay and better benefits. Our nation is stronger when health care is truly a right and not a privilege, which is why we need to extend the huge health care expansion we made in the American Rescue Plan, which has already helped 138,000 people in my home state of Washington save an average $90 on their health care coverage. And we need to keep pressing for further progress towards universal coverage. And of course, our nation is stronger because of contributions of so many hardworking immigrants, which is why we need a fair pathway to citizenship for the more than 11 million undocumented residents living here, including dreamers, farm workers, those with temporary protected status, and the many essential undocumented workers who do so much to keep our country running. You know, after a wildfire, would we leave the fire department in ashes, or the schools, or the businesses, or the homes? Of course not. So after a pandemic and an economic crisis, shouldn't we rebuild our public health departments? Shouldn't we rebuild our economy? Shouldn't we address the deep-seated inequities that have made things so much worse for so many people? Shouldn't we help families get childcare and paid leave and health care and housing and citizenship? Shouldn't we build back our nation stronger and fairer? That is not a trick question, and it shouldn't be a hard one either. The answer is obvious to anyone who's been listening to people back home. Mr. President, Democrats are listening. We know what families are going through. We know they want us to act, and that is exactly what we are going to do. Thank you, and I yield the floor.